tax.
Yep.
Ran out of places to park cars.
Good afternoon, all.
Oh, I did.
Welcome to the tourism occupancy tax for September 2024. I need a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th, 2024. Mr. Strainer, Mr. Stroud, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll move on. Privilege to the floor. Anybody out in the audience like to say anything? Comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. We just really have one resolution. It's a request to extend the Lime Adirondack Forest Company LLC. The resolution was for 2,625. They've increased it to 2,704, which is $79. So it's probably one of the cheapest motions we need. So I need a motion to take that, Mr. Strainer, Mr. Bean. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, just
Well-
one, I was. How many people use this trail that we're paying $2,700 a year for just the right to go over the?
That question I don't have off the top of my head, but I can check up there with the chamber. of
Okay.
Commerce.
I heard quite a few people go to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been pretty popular, but I don't track it.
Can't give you a number,
well,
but
I'm just wondering if we ever thought about buying that piece of property, that little stretch that we gotta,
Could be something we could look into. for
Okay.
next year's budget.
all right, for
Thank you.
now.
So we get all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Passed. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Lisa. Budget.
I'd like to start with the occupancy tax side of the budget. Our request is over $5 million. As you can see, it's 66% of what we think our collections will be of 7,000,008 next year. There are footnotes for each code. So if everybody wants to just take a quick look at those, I can give you hopefully some more information if anything is,
Page.
this would be page 2.
Page 2 or 2.
Well, as you can see in 469, we budgeted 2,400,000. That's the 25% that you normally get, the towns normally get, and plus we did put the 450,000 spending plan in there.
Let's keep moving, please.
Well, I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Quick question, thank you,
Cito?
Mr. Chairman. I see under fund account 480. 2023 amount, actual amount allocated 3.6, adopted 500. 2024 amended. Do we owe a lot out still from now till the end of the year?
For 480, yes, we do.
Okay, and that's typical. I mean, so a few months left in the year, that's
Yeah, so basically, the event organizers have to sign a contract
yeah,
before we can encumber the money.
right.
So there's several contracts still outstanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We move down the road. At least you want to move on?
If there's no questions on this part of the budget, we can talk about the department budget. Dave Strainer, do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions. No, if I had questions.
We can move on. Don't press Strainer. He'll have.
Merlino told me, shut up and keep moving.
All right, where are you gonna go next?
So we'll talk about the department budget. which is $2,770,000, $953. Basically, it's the same dollar a figure as the 2024 budget. Heather does have a vision of different things that she's doing, but we're able to move around money. So, and that's what we've done a lot this year. And this represents 34% of that 7.8 million that we expect. I don't have any footnotes on the different codes, but if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
Being none, Lisa, you want to move on? Huh?
That's it.
Total.
So, yeah, same dollar, and we haven't changed our internal budget in several years. The lion's share goes to the occupancy tax side of the budget.
Is that 63% or something?
66%.
66% of that goes.
Tax,
tax.
34%.
Anybody have any questions?
That's
Another
another
seat up.
question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the summary sheet under 200s equipment.
Mhm.
I see 2024 adopted 2,000 amended to 13,700. Was there an equipment purchase or then 2020?
Created the furniture in the department.
Oh, okay.
So that was actually carried over from the previous year, I believe.
Gotcha. All right.
So we're not anticipating, in fact, I've not put any money in 210 this year. We're not anticipating purchasing any more furniture. At this point, we are looking to purchase a couple laptops under office equipment.
Thank you.
Green or anything, so we move on.
No, things look good.
All right, Lisa, keep going. That's it?
That's it.
All right, no further
Nobody has
questions?
any questions on the budget? If anybody has a question after the fact, you can contact me and I'll try to answer it for you.
So I'll get a motion to move forward past the budget.
It's just the FYI.
Okay, just information. Sorry about that. All right. Anything else, Lisa? Treasurer's report?
What time did the game start? 7.
Queensbury, Wisconsin. I think George had a big win last week. Oh, yeah, they beat Skyler.
There you go. Just pass
Yeah.
it out. Take the one so I have
I
it.
think George is still a team. See. No, football. Yeah, well, they don't get it.
Morning. Not working.
Need any more, Lisa?
No.
You have a couple more?
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Realize I got it was from it.
Here's one more if they need one more. Need one more?
No, I have one. more.
Place
That's
down
okay.
below.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't quite get it.
So just to take you through this, this is obviously, where we are with regard to receipts to date, I'm the collector. Tourism is disbursements. We're in pretty good shape and this is actually, it'll be actually a better picture next week. We have about 5 more days of receipts coming in. But as of 9/23/24, which was as of yesterday, there are 2 parts to this report. The top portion is total collections, which is hotels and short-term rentals. And the top line is 2024. You'll see 731, 831, and 923, excuse me, and you'll see, again, through our busy season, through our summer season, the receipts are getting bigger and bigger. So at 923, we're at 4.9 million. Last year at same time, we were at a little bit higher, a little bit lower, 4.9 as well, a couple tens of thousands less. So basically the difference there is we're positive $86,000, which is about 2% increase. Again, we have about 5 more days, so I expect that to go up a few more points. What's big, and you'll see, is short-term rental collection. We're up 30% as of 9/23/24. So the short-term rentals continue to be doing well. Again, at 9/23, they're up about 400. The total collections to date are 471,000 versus 363 same time last year. So that's a 30% increase. So we'll probably come in the next time, you'll see a bit more, but we've brought in about $1 million just in the last week or so. Any questions?
Mr. Bean, you have a question?
Just no Granicus is in here yet. Has that been, we're not, was working with them yet?
I do have a Granicus update, but because of the timing of today, I was asked to give it to you at the next meeting, but I can tell you just really quickly. There's very little Granicus dollars in here as yet. We have an opportunity of about 400 short-term rentals. And about 173 of them we are actively pursuing. There's about roughly 200 that are still being investigated by Granicus. Of the 173, we have 57 new registrants. Out of the 57, about 52 of them are annual registrants, which means we won't know what their numbers are until January of 2025 for the year of 2024. Of those 57, approximately 40% of them, shoot, I don't want to misspeak. Give me 1 second. Of the 57, so yes, out of the 230 that we're actively pursuing, 57% of them are now compliant. 91% will file annually. Only 9% we've received money on to date, and it's only about $9,000. It's really nominal. Of the 57, of the 57, 50% of them not only owe for 2024, they owe for 2023. So we will be able to claw back. And 12% of them actually owe in 2022 as well. So again, as the 57 creeps up to that 400, it's going to take some time to see the numbers, but it's positive. Those are the big things. Again, I'm happy to share this with you. But I was asked to just report this out at the next one.
Kevin?
You have to add the two numbers together though, the 49 and the 471 to get the total.
4.9 is the total collection short-term.
4943 is the total.
Correct.
And that includes the 471.
Correct.
Good question.
Ross?
I have a quick question on it. On the short-term rentals, obviously a lot of follow-up is required. So do you have somebody in particular on your staff for continuity of this process, or is it?
No, Lisa Mandy is my number one person. She works with a lot of you actually. And we're happy to work with you. The good news is we're getting a lot of calls and a lot of questions. The towns are getting, involved. We've got a lot of Glens Falls, a lot of Johnsburg.
Yeah.
What we're actually going to do, and I might as well give you a heads up here, is we're going to reach out to each one of the supervisors, Lisa is, and we're going to ask for our point person in your municipality. That is going to be our key contact. And what we're going to do now that we're working with Granicus on an ongoing basis, we're going to report out at least twice a year, possibly 3 times a year, exactly where we're coming. One of the key indicators, key performance indicators that I think it's important so since the last time Granicus, we engaged Granicus, we've got a 23% uptick. So there's 23% more short-term rentals than last time we engaged with them. So right now we're working on about 1,560 short-term rentals, which is a 23% uptick. Just so you know, there have been 30 new short-term rentals Yes, 30 new short-term rentals. It's kind of odd. It's the same in the last 30 days. So there's a lot of fluidity with these short-term rentals, not only with new short-term rentals coming online, but sometimes like, there is a little nuance here. Sometimes people will take them down and change prices and then they come back on. So that 30 is not like 30 brand new ones, but it's largely 30 new rentals. The biggest uptick of the 57 registrants, I can tell you, is Johnsburg
Yeah, sure.
and Chester.
Yep.
Chester had a big uptick. The rest of them are, I don't know.
Who's paying you? Does Airbnb send you money for these people? Or,
Generally, Airbnb could, we chose not to have that. For example, Essex, Lake Placid, north of us. For short-term rentals, they get a big check and it's just one check and they don't do any work on it. Mike didn't want to do that, my predecessor, because you have no visibility into the details. It is a lot of detail. There is a lot of work that goes into this. We're rewriting the law to make it stronger. We're also going to get into the finances of administration, so we can come back to you and tell you exactly what, we think it's going to cost. Not only in the past, but more importantly, go forward, because this is a lot of work. The other thing that I'll be quite candid with you about is, I'm looking at Granicus hard to see if it's truly leverageable as a software as a service go forward. I thought it was gonna, really automate a lot of the work and, take the minutia away from my guys. That's not exactly panning out the way I thought. So is it really gonna be, is it gonna remove work or is it just gonna be a tool? And so I'm waiting to get to the end of this process to really make that determination. Right now, I'm not seeing any real reduction in effort.
so the individual owners of these Airbnbs, they pay you?
Yes, even
And
when
so-
they're with Airbnb or VRBO or any of the other ones, if they collect the tax on behalf of the owner, they cut the check to the owner of the resident, short-term rental. And then the short-term rental person turns around and remits it to us.
So do these people have to register these through the towns that they're in?
First you register, first you register through the county. That's your number one step.
And
And
how do
then,
they know to do this though?
so it's on our website,
I don't know, I mean, if I were to buy one of these, which I've seen a ton of them.
right?
Who tells them that they have to pay a bed tax? I mean, they register through the town as a rental? And someone there tells them, or does?
Well, it's two things. It's hopefully, again, we're hoping to close gaps in communication. So we're working with the real estate attorneys, we're working with the realtors. We've had information in our Warren County Weekly with Don Lehman. We're rewriting the law, which will then be publicized. It's lots of education and communication.
So we're depending on the honor system.
It is, the short-term rentals are the honor system.
Same thing with zoning. A lot of times people don't know, I mean, how many times have you seen people just do something without going to your zoning enforcement officer? Mike, have you, I mean, right? I'm trying, Vinny? I mean, we have
Yeah.
people all of a sudden putting stuff up, it's like,
Some do it intentionally, some don't.
right, exactly, yeah, no, sometimes it's an error of, just kind of, oops, I didn't realize it, and sometimes it's like, I don't want to bother.
Well, some people think forgiveness is better.
I've heard that plenty of times.
But our zoning officer is the one that says you need a business license, you file sales tax, and you pay occupancy tax. Occupancy tax follows sales tax.
Your zoning person
Yeah,
does this.
absolutely, our office does, yeah.
So how do you know that they're gonna come in and do this? So first,
Well, Granicus helps us,
Track it.
Granicus helps us track it, and then we'll send our zoning officer out.
He's saying.
Vinny, tell me that, can you, Kevin just made a point about maybe that's the best point person in the municipalities. Is
Our zoning officer is our point person. They come in, they file, they get a business license. They're told, the proper licensing, they pay sales, they gotta pay New York State sales tax, and occupancy tax follows New York State sales tax. You pay quarterly, you pay quarterly. If you pay it monthly, you pay it monthly.
That's for hotels.
No, this is for short-term rentals also, and it's based on,
Short-term rentals don't pay sales tax.
well, if their short-term rentals are not paying sales tax,
No,
or even on a three-night,
no,
even on a
short-term,
three-night stay,
no, short-term rentals.
but it
that's
follows
what's
this,
going through
okay,
the
okay,
legislature right now that they don't think is gonna pass.
okay,
Remember.
yeah.
why do they think it's not gonna pass?
Too much politics in it.
Well, I mean,
I literally just heard it this week.
I
and
thought it was
can't
gonna
remember
pass.
Who brought it up?
I mean, you'd think they'd want it to pass with the
They would
unavailability of
collect-
housing.
State would collect another $1 million like we collected, yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Probably more than that. Well,
State would, yeah, collect a little bit
They
more.
have
I
a
think
lot of
our portion
people
was
down
1.2.
south in New York and stuff that don't want it, and it's political. more
Well,
than anything else.
But our zoning office is the point person for it. So.
Okay. Yeah, that is the key difference between short-term rentals
Zoning,
and
yeah,
hotels.
John
Hotels
O'Brien.
pay sales tax
True.
and they do
Zoning guy
follow,
too,
the occ tax follows the sales tax,
Not
short-term rentals.
zoning, building and code,
building a code. Yeah,
John O'Brien.
he does Queensbury.
Okay. We'll put that out to you and we'll get your thoughts on that.
Well, I was just wondering if, as a Realtor, that if we know that these people are gonna do this, we should forewarn them and say, listen, if you're gonna do this, you need to sign up. And this,
Correct.
you know, cause eventually they're gonna see that this isn't the house that you're using for your own, you know, purposes. You're using it as a business,
Right.
but
And that is the plan, not only to work with the Southern Adirondack Realtor Association, but also the lawyers.
We hired Granicus too to monitor who's out there and,
but you know, there's always people trying to slide through the system,
yeah.
you know, but I don't
and
understand
a
why
lot
they
of,
wouldn't
a
want
lot of
that
the
sales
short,
tax.
a lot of the short-term rental owners don't actually register as a business and therefore they're just using plain old homeowners insurance as opposed to a business type of insurance.
Oh,
That's,
something
that's,
too.
that's, yeah, you're not paying, really not paying what you should be paying either.
Oh, it's true.
Yep.
Of course, then when something happens and they get sued, they'll find out otherwise.
That's right.
I'm happy to send this out. I'll distribute this just so you have it and you can get back to me with any questions. And then at the next meeting, this will be updated and you'll have even more information. Fair?
Thank you.
Great, thank
Any
you.
other questions? All right. How do we move along here? Any referrals, Lisa? Referrals? Blue to the floor? Gina? Good. Oh,
Go ahead, that's, you want, it's up to you.
no, go ahead.
I have two things, two questions. The first is given a new application process for occ tax funds. The cutoff dates are coming soon along with the presentation. I assume that we're gonna hold tight on those dates, so if somebody comes in months from now, we'll tell them next year.
This year, we have to do it.
So I wonder, can Paul just give us a real brief summary? The dates are coming up.
Sure, sure. So we've been for the special event funding, we've been open for 2 weeks. And on a weekly basis, I'm contacting all of our past applicants to let them know the dates coming up. So we're on top of that. We're also working with IT right now to digitize the supplemental funding application for items like the food trucks, that type of thing. So that'll be up and running. That'll also be an opening date probably in January through June. But our deadline date is going to be October 11th. And like I said, I'm on top of pretty much all of the past applicants. And we've got a lot of folks that have registered already. So again, it's you just go right to the county website, click on occupancy tax and the portal's right there.
Okay.
Very, very easy. So
And then, Paul, also there's a presentation that's required. So are we gonna have everybody at the same day?
you will have everybody the same day. They're going to be given 5 minutes. We'll probably do it in the boardroom. So everybody's aware of those
You know,
days.
what's the likelihood of a number of that? Should we have a,
I would say we had about 25 applications in 20 for this year. So I wouldn't say more than 30 people would be there. There's, but we're gonna keep them limited to the 5 minutes.
so it could be a couple of hours.
I would anticipate that,
So-
but it's just that. That's just what the meeting's for, nothing else. No other items are gonna be addressed there. And not the supplemental either. Supplemental, you have a little bit more time to work on that.
Okay,
And we try to push that all the board members, make sure they be there, so
All right,
they hear everything.
I appreciate that. And the last question I have, it was disappointing at the last board meeting to hear some negative comments about the balloon festival, the support from the county. Especially disappointed because at the last committee meeting, or when the festival organizer was here, our chair recommended an increase of $25,000. So I'm not sure if that's a legitimate complaint or if it was hearsay,
We're
but
hearing a lot of that. We're gonna talk to him. Yep, he made a statement that the county doesn't do enough for the balloon festival. And it kind of upset a lot of us. So we're gonna try to get together, let them clear off. Now, the balloon festival is always very successful. We made every launch. This was one of the first years in a lot of years that we didn't get a delay by wind or rain or something. And Saturday night, I mean, I've been there a lot of times. They were still coming in when the balloons were going off. And that's how many people we had there. So
It was huge.
Really think.
Well,
Go ahead.
The city of Glens Falls also gets a lot of complaints that we don't do enough either, so.
Yeah.
I think we would love to be part of that conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna get together. We're gonna let it settle down now for a couple of weeks and, yeah, a lot of us don't like to comment that the county doesn't do anything for the balloon festival. We gave them $100,000.
well, here's my
If that's
request.
not helping, I
I have a specific request.
go ahead.
Those comments were public,
Hey, we're
so
public.
I'd like to have a public reasoning behind it. We can invite him to a future meeting.
That's what the plan is.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'll let you all know when that happens. That's Mr. Stroud.
A lot of that is a communication issue. Lack of. Now, I try and organize the various groups that are involved in helping to organize this. But there's always some things that fall through the cracks. You're right, let the emotionalism down. It was a very successful event. I think that's what we have to hang our hat on. The other things, they can be easily solved by a little bit better communication between the various groups, and I'll work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Okay.
Anything else on that portion? All right. Anybody else? Gene, I think you popped up. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to give, I know several months ago, Supervisor Gerasi just always asks about, where have we been, where are we going? And this really dovetails what our treasurer just presented with regard to occupancy tax collections and short-term rentals. So what you'll have here is a look back for the last 3 months. And we use our Zartico tool for this. Where you can see short-term rentals and occupancy tax, and this is based on actual credit card expenditures. So again, if someone takes your money at their cabins or wherever with regard to cash, it won't be reflected here because it is based on credit card data. And then a look ahead, this is what we would call pacing in our industry. I'll get the extras. Sure. That's the pacing one. This would be pacing. And what this means is this is where people have already booked, they paid ahead, they paid a deposit. But just kind of gives you a general idea. Like, so for instance, recently, the town of Queensbury had worked with the Queensbury School District on their statewide cross-country event. But 2 weeks ago, they had a major cross-country event where there was 39,000 runners for cross-country at an invitational tournament larger than ever.
3,900,
39, I'm sorry, 3,900. Sorry about that. Missed.
but that's still huge.
Yes, 3,900 is huge. And it's not only the fact that we had worked with them on that in terms of, is that the right thing that they should be going after to bring that invitational tournament, the more state tournaments, as you've seen in basketball, we also have a state volleyball tournament. It's not only that event that helps us, but it also brings back those folks as future vacationers and visitors other times of the year to show off our destination. So, they had requested information right away, like Tuesday after that event. We weren't that fast on getting that to them. The request came to Paul Tackett and Don Lehman, who then sent it to us to send them information and work with Greta, who is their communications director for the school district. But these are the kinds of events that they have an invitational, then they bid on a statewide tournament. And so we're trying to work with all athletic directors or however we can to do it. But their business person came to us 2 to 3 years ago, post-COVID, to bid on that event. And they got a 3-year bid for that upcoming statewide tournament. But their invitational, some of those numbers are included in here because I ran this report up to 9:15 that Sunday for the look back. So you can see the spike for that weekend as you look at the daily of that report. And then looking ahead, as I mentioned, that's a pacing report. So those in the industry, like Supervisor Cressito and others who are owners or even Supervisor Merlino in his past, would look ahead to see what have I got on, who's prepaid, who's paid some things. You'll see the short-term rentals are through the roof. And they have longer term stays. So it's all important to us, but I just feel like the more you know about that, the more, the better we're all educated and we can plan ahead. Last week, we just held a lunch and learn at where anybody in the county was offered the opportunity to log into this lunch and learn with Zartico, not us. And they all got a login so they could look ahead as they're working on their business plans and strategies to market their properties individually, but also as we look ahead and market our destination wide, as collectively. So these are helpful tools for us to do that effectively. Thanks for that.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Good data. Thank you.
Amy, you got anything for Glens Falls you'd like to say?
Two things last week, first of all, I wanted to thank, John Stroud for all his work, personally on the Balloon Festival. He helped me immensely, deal with some issues, and, I just wanted to say thank you. But the Albany Business Review featured Glens Falls, as a destination for restaurants. So that's a win-win. We've been working a long time on our restaurants and we now have a wonderful density of restaurants. I also brought a nice dining guide for all of you if you'd like one. We also were highlighted in Realtor.com as one of the top 10 affordable small towns where you'd actually love to live. So, really great week last week. I think the Balloon Festival went really well. We were able to serve 100 of the balloon pilots and crew, a nice chicken dinner at Crandall Park. So, I'm always looking to add value. But thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Amy. Any question for Amy? Thank you. Right. No other questions? A motion to adjourn? Mr. Stroud, wait. I see a hand back there. I'm sorry.
Heather had asked if David Nelson, our principal.
You want to
planner-
come up to the table here? The mic up there doesn't work, so we can hear you. Oh, it works now. I'm sorry.
So
Come on, Sarah.
Heather had asked if our principal planner, David Nelson, could come to this meeting to talk about a project that our department is looking to get some occupancy tax money for. It's time sensitive. So if you could talk for a few minutes about that.
Right. We didn't see that. I didn't see that on here.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, so in the town of Johnsburg, we have the Mill Creek Recreation Area. It's a 200-acre parcel that's under town control. It's owned by the town. And it's long been used, I'm sure several of you have heard of it. It's long been used as a place for a swimming hole. Recently, the Upper Hudson Trail Alliance has received a proposal from Wilderness Property Management to do a recreational assessment of the entire 200 acres. So we've received a proposal through Upper Hudson for $20,000 to do this assessment. We are hoping to time it so that the results of the assessment can be used for grant requests to the state next year. So that's where we're at. Sarah mentioned it is a little time sensitive. So the proposal is good through the end of November. And we'd like to get going as quickly as possible. So we have requested $20,000 in Ms. Bagshaw's budget for that effect. Any questions?
No.
No, I didn't hear anything about that.
The agendas for this committee can.
No.
In October.
We'll have to do it in October because it's not on our agenda for it.
Okay.
All right. I don't know.
We'll have to see. We'll have to talk with Wilderness Property Management.
Yeah, gotta try to get.
Did you
it, but
speak to
yeah.
Heather about it?
End of November.
Yes.
Okay, it's not on the agenda. Okay, we'll get it as quick as possible.
All right, thank you.
We meet in October.
So, it'll sit.
By the end of November. Yeah, I don't know when we usually come over.
All right, we'll have time
Everything's
for it.
in
from
order,
what I
yeah.
understand. All right, anything else?
You know, just one thing, Sarah, didn't you just receive accolades for your Frontier Trail?
Yes,
I wanted to congratulate you on that.
thank you.
That was very nice.
Thanks.
Thought you were gonna slide by, didn't you?
All right, anything further? Motion adjourned. Mr. Stroud, Mr. Strainer.
How
All
can
in
you
favor?
forget?
All in favor, I gotta hear, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?